Hi, in this video we're going to plot a quadratic graph with a given equation. So this time we've got a factorised equation. It's factorised because we've got some brackets multiplied together, they're the factors. Now remember that a quadratic graph, when we're plotting them, they either look like this shape, so a smiley face shape, or they look like a sort of hill shape like that. And the way we could tell between them is that if there was a positive number in front of the x squared term, so we had positive something x squared, it was a smiley face shape, and it was a negative number, like I know minus 3x squared, so a negative number in front of the x squared, then it was the heel shape like this. Now, can you see that if you were to expand this out, you would have a sort of x times a minus x, which would be minus x squared. Another way of saying that is minus 1x squared. Negative 1 is a negative number, so therefore it's going to be an example of this, like a negative quadratic like that. So that's a shape we're expecting to get. And remember, the starting point when you're plotting, not plotting, but sketching a quadratic is to identify where the graph cuts the x-axis and where it cuts the y-axis. Now, to find where it cuts the y-axis, for example, notice at any point on the y-axis, the x value for any point on here is always going to be 0. So if we make x 0, we can work out the y-intercept. So if we just copy this down here, we've got y equals x plus 2 times by 1 minus x, I think. Yep, 1 minus x. So if you substitute x is 0 into this, we're going to get y is equal to 0 plus 2 times 1 minus 0. That's going to be 2 times 1, which is 2. So when x is 0, y is 2. Let's plot 0, 2. That's going to be here. That's the y-intercept. And we said when it cuts the y-axis, any point on the x-axis, any point on the x-axis, the y value is 0. So if we make y 0 this time, and we substitute the y 0 into here, we're going to get 0 is equal to x plus 2 multiplied by 1 minus x. Now remember, when you have a product of two things, a multiplication of two things equals 0, then at least one of them has to be 0. Because if this was 0, 0 times anything would be 0, wouldn't it? Yep. So if the x plus 2 was 0, then, well, what plus 2 is 0? It's minus 2, isn't it? So when x is minus 2, y would be 0, because at minus 2 plus 2 is 0. 0 times anything would indeed be 0. And what about if the second thing was 0? For 1 minus x is equal to 0, 1 minus what is 0? Well, it's 1, isn't it? So we get x is 1. So when either x is 1 or minus 2, y would be 0. So let's plot that. When x is 1, y is 0, or when x was minus 2, y is 0. So we get that. And we also said it had this kind of shape here, this hill shape. So then we've got to plot our quadratic that goes through these points. And notice, by the way, that because a kind of quadratic graph is symmetrical, it has a line of reflection in the middle, a line of symmetry in the middle, that it's always symmetrical, like halfway between the two x-intercepts, the minus 2 and 1. Well, halfway between minus 2 and 1 is minus half. So this is going to be the line of reflection. It's going to be halfway between these two x-intercepts. And then we just need to draw our quadratic graph. So it comes up like this with a hill shape, comes to this maximum point, and then, sorry, I'm going to draw that again because that's really rubbish. So it comes up like this and then drops down like this, going through those points like that. Now, if you're drawing this on my platform, you should have 3 points that you can drag around onto the x and y axis, and then it should draw a quadratic graph that goes through your 3 points for you.